I don't have a lot of words for it. I don't know. Somebody asked me, like a news anchor person asked me this morning, she said, what do you think God thinks when he looks at this? I was like, you know what's crazy about our God? He's just as excited about the one.
100%.
Like if one person, you know, as 2,552. And so every one of those, because he's the kind that leaves the 99 for the one, you know? And so that's the scandal of grace, you know? The stories are just incredible, man. Just absolutely incredible. Some of my favorites that my wife baptized with me, and the number of comments was really cool. Because I kind of had to like volunteer her to do it, you know? And obviously it was such a good time, and it was so cool. The number of, especially some ladies would comment later on social media, how much it meant to them for Gretchen to be out there baptizing my brothers and baptizing with me. That's so cool just to see what God's been doing in his life for the last 15 years or so. One of my favorite things is I had Garrett Gross and Mike Dragich helping get people from the shore to us and then back. These are two professional MMA fighters. These are the scariest looking humans you've ever seen in your life. If pit bulls were people, this is what they would look like.
That's such a good description.
And they could just murder us if they wanted to. There's not much we could do about it, you know? And they're so kind and they're so gentle and they love Jesus so much. And in particular, this mom comes out with her little girl, and the girl's a little bit scared of the water, and it's over her head, you know? She's like 9, but she's been through the stuff with our kids' ministry. And I was like, all right, Mom, we're going to baptize you first. And Garrett, who, I mean, you know, face tattoos. And I mean, he looks like the bad guy in a superhero movie. That's what he looks like. And I love this dude, loves Jesus. And I was like, I know he looks scary. This is the safest guy. Like, you're never going to be more safe than this dude holding you. And that little girl just trusted him. And then he baptized in my line the whole time. He's out there helping the whole time. And of all the pictures he decided to post, it was him holding that little girl. Well, and she's got one hand in the air as her mom is being baptized. And it's such a beautiful picture of our church, you know? Especially like, these are two men standing firm and acting like men. Yeah, man. That was really cool.
I really love that you have added the exorcism question.
Yeah, let's go.
That was so powerful. I think this was the first beach baptism with it.
We did it last year.
Yeah, we did it last year.
We weren't all confident in it to learn all the words.
What'd he say?
I'm not going to say I said it perfect every time. But the look on people's face as the gravity of that statement hits them was pretty remarkable.
And every time I'd baptize, if a husband and wife came out, we baptized the husband and he helps baptize the wife. And to everyone before, I'd be like, you're going to begin to lead at a different level. The spiritual temperature in your house is now your responsibility. You're going to lead them to church. You're going to disciple, and you should see them, you know. And then I'd be like, and you're going to baptize your wife. And bro, I mean, the tears, and then also, I got to baptize Addie and Big Mac's kids, who were older teenagers that I have known forever. And it just got me, man. I mean, I love these kids are as close to my children as you can be without being mine. You know, I'd had like Kai and Taylor and a couple football guys in there, but these are like as close as you can get, man. And so we started with Windsor, and I get choked up. Like, I can't talk for a second. And Big Mac is he's a big baby. He's like 6'8". And he's like, say something. He's just, you know? So when I dunk him, his son, Mackie, who just got like stud of the year at Fletcher, whatever the highest award for like character and athletics, just got that. I mean, he's a stud, loves the Lord. And bro, he's boo-hooing, big old basketball player. He's probably, 6'5", or I don't know, he's huge. And I was like, I'm not crying, you're crying. He's like, it was just so sweet. And then Reagan and Wiley are such good buds. And so it was really, really special.
The saltwater mines.
Bro.
It's good, man.
Did get a lot of saltwater in mines too.
What were you going to say?
There was also, one more. When I went to do the little online thing, you know, this lady comes up. She's like, we're from New York, and it could be her mom, some relative, was disabled, couldn't use her legs. It's like, is there any way she could be in your line? And so the two pit bulls went and just picked her up and brought her to us, you know? And it's just really, really special, you know?
Yeah.
And we did it.
Yeah, you were talking about the first question, and the word renounce is a word that is very unfamiliar.
Correct.
It's just not a word we use for just about anything. And so it's got so much potency to it because it's such a unique word in our culture. So when you say, do you renounce? I mean, people either like close their eyes and think about what you're saying or.
Yeah, you renounce your citizenship. It's the only other place I can find it.
Right.
Like, because I have to fill out all these gun things because I buy a lot of guns. And one of the questions, have you ever renounced your U.S. citizenship? That doesn't mean.
It's very fitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, very fitting. So that I think that word has just so much potency to it. And so the two questions together have such a, it's such a juxtaposition in a powerful way because it's like, it represents the totality of repentance in human language because it's like I'm renouncing not just my own sins, which I'm renouncing the demonic forces and the enemy and this text that we're going to talk about, the sons of the kingdom and the sons of, it's hard to tell walking around in the world who's who.
Yep.
And in a lot of ways. And so, and then, Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior, that I've now grabbed on to the greater thing. And because it's one thing to say, I'm going to leave something behind, but the only way you're ever going to do that is actually to grab on to something better.
Yep.
And so it's really powerful. There was one couple we baptized from Vermont Vermont, I've been to Vermont, but not many people have. And they had a son who was just in the stronghold of addiction and came to Florida to rehab. And part of his rehab, he got introduced to 1122, surrendered his life to the Lordship of Jesus, and was doing really, really well. And then had a slip in one weekend and ended up losing his life to overdose. And coming and getting baptized with our church was them going public with their faith, but it was also like a part of their healing process and saying that even in the hard stuff, we're going to trust God and we're going to keep following God. And I was just able to encourage him, like surrender his life to the Lordship of Jesus Christ. We'll all be together again one day, and so just those are 5 stories of the thousands.
2,550.
Yeah. I mean, really just incredible.
Yeah. Praise God for it. Just the beginning, though, right, Pastor Joby?
Let's go.
Starting line.
That is the starting line, not the finish line.
We're going to continue in Matthew 13, and as you mentioned, this is more parables from Jesus and another one that he explains. And so let's talk a little bit about what you mentioned, that the 2 plants here, one's the weed called darnel.
Darnell, that's not how it's pronounced.
And
I have a little thing on Logos. You can hit the button and it's like Darnell.
Oh,
but it's so robotic. They need to do like hey, Logos, update it and make it sound like a human. You know what I mean?
Do you know how like you guys ever use Waze?
Yeah.
You can change the voice that's telling you there's traffic or construction or whatever. Mine's Nate Bargatze.
No way.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. He goes, there's something not great up ahead. So just get ready for that.
Oh, Lord.
So maybe Logos just
Get Nate to read the Bible.
Exactly.
It's a good idea.
So let's tease out this idea that the 2 plants, sons of the evil one, sons of the kingdom, they look similar as they're growing.
That is true, but one is literally poisonous. And they don't just look similar. In their infancy, you cannot tell the difference at all. It's not until they grow and are ripened. And it's funny, Billy Graham was on, I think he was on The Tonight Show, like in the 80s. And they asked him, things seem to just be getting worse in our world. And he's like, and better. And he mentioned this parable that God allows it all to grow up, and it is in the maturation that you will see either fruit or poison. That,
as I was reading it, it's kind of odd because if you think about, okay, if you think about this as people, he says, don't root them all up because you'll uproot the good wheat.
correct.
So how would removing sons of the devil prematurely harm sons of the kingdom?
Well, in the field, I did a deep dive on farming about this stuff. So you can't tell the difference at the beginning. So by the time you can tell the difference, the root systems are all intertangled, and that's what happens. So I think a part of the application here is, hey, all you Pharisees that are trying to purify everything, what you're going to do is you're going to kill, like you're going to think that's a wolf and it's just an immature sheep and you don't know yet. And in the kingdom, It's not worth the risk of taking out one wheat in order to kill one weed. And that's kind of the warning to the church. I know he says the field is the world and not the church. That's why I talked very quickly. I think it was Augustine, one of those real old guys, who talked about the visible and the invisible church. And the way it works, you can't see this if you're not watching it, and you can't even see it if you are watching it, but just, like the invisible church is within the visible church, and not everybody in the visible church is a wheat. And it's actually kind of like the invisible church will be like this, and then the visible church will be like that. Because there are some people in like the thief on the cross never got connected into the visible church, or the Muslim that has the dream and meets one person and then gets saved, but there's no visible church to get connected to. So that's more technically right. And so the idea is if we, the servants, try to purify the field, we're going to do more harm than good. It's a warning, I think, a little bit to the person that's got that judgmental spirit about calm down just a second. And if you look at all three of them together, you'd be like, you might just be catching leaven or yeast before it's done its thing, or you might be trying to judge what will be a full tree where birds can live in by the size of the seed right now. So just give God a minute. And in this parable, you're not in the judge's seat. So servants don't make good judges. And we should all pay attention to that. That's different than loving somebody. That's why I spent a lot of time on it happens best in relationships, like mat carriers, those kinds of things.
I really love that you pointed that out because I didn't see that at first. He says that the reapers are the angels, but I do think us being the servants is a good application there, a good insight to it, because that is true. There are people who kind of go on a mission to say, to
judge everybody,
oust all the people that we think could be wrong, and
be careful.
Be careful.
And two, I talked to somebody online, like, this is a little bit different because y'all work here. So that's different. If I go to a buddy, because I'm supposed to be a mat carrier, and he stiff arms me, there's not much you can do about that. They have to be willing to receive the correction and love and encouragement that you are offering. Now, you need to do it with gentleness. That is key. And with the hopes of reconciling them back to the Lord or some other person. You're not just trying to be right. But don't give up either, because when they do realize, when they do find themselves on the mat, they're going to go to the person that loved them enough to lovingly point out their faults.
Yeah, one of the hardest things to do is when you do feel responsible to someone.
Yeah.
And you also care deeply from as far as you can discern, is a good place.
Yeah.
But it's just, there's a ton of resistance and tension, both what you can explain in the physical and what you can sense in the supernatural. Like there's just, the communication wires are broken and there's a massive gap between what's said and what's heard, but you still feel that deep care and that deep responsibility. One of the hardest things, and this parable is comforting in that, one of the hardest things to do is to trust people into the hands of the Lord. And say, Lord, I'm just trusting you here, that you've got a longer play, you've got a longer plan. I don't want to, if you're telling me to be a part of the harvest, I want to hear your voice and I want to do it. But if you're also telling me that it's just got to grow, it's just got to grow and it's got to grow, I want to be sensitive to that too. And that's one of the wonderful things about the parables is even though we're not in an agricultural society, most people aren't idiots. They can read words and understand what they mean.
Yeah.
And at least in part, and they can kind of get the mental picture of what Jesus is painting, even 2,000 plus years later.
Other than politicians, I agree with every word you're saying.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, it's not perfect, but I generally assume people aren't just absolute morons. And so when you read these parables and you really study them, Jesus, it is about the kingdom, but it's also a lot of really good advice for living.
Yes.
And a really good worldview and paradigm by which to operate your life, as a son of the kingdom.
My experience is I experience almost no resistance. And then it's like 50-50 on the follow through. Like, I don't know, whatever the reason is that I have the relational bank with a guy. Go to him, like, dude, you're jacking your life up. You've got to stop. And they're like, yep. I'm like, this is what you need to do. Got it. And then talk to him the next week. Did you do it? No, not one thing you said, but I don't just,
Yeah.
Or I talk to a couple. They're on the struggle bus. I'm like, all right, this is as simple as it is. Why don't you do these things? And they're like, yeah, that's perfect. And then they just don't. So that's aggravating.
I think this is something that you do really well, Pastor Joby. Like, just the way that the culture that's been built here is, movement for all people. And you even said it tonight, like, embrace it. Don't try to manage the outcomes. Let God be in charge of that. Like, I don't see you chasing a lot of results to try to manage them. You throwing the seed out and letting God handle the results. It is hard though. I think it comes from, if we're giving people the benefit of the doubt, if you care about a person, you want to make sure that the fruit is starting to come forward, and you want to, like, I don't know, if you imagine a little plant, you're just like, come on, and maybe that's why people kind of get in there too much.
Well, I think this parable is in large part written for people who are more seasoned believers. Because, and you just put it in the context of our lives every day. One of the most challenging parts of being a pastor is that, because to be a pastor, there's certain qualifications. Like, not everybody who can, and you've had to have been a Christian for a while.
Yep.
These are Bible verses I'm pointing at here.
Correct.
So you have to be a seasoned believer in order to do this. And
you can't be overbearing.
You can't be overbearing. And one of the things that is true in our life on the regular is that because of being at this a little bit longer, we've learned to want more for people than they know to want for themselves.
That's good. And
it's not a higher lower thing. It's just we've been at it. And it's like, I want more for you than I think you even know to want for yourself. And you want it so bad for them, but you can't do it for them. You can't live the life for them. And you got to trust the Holy Spirit to grow them in His time.
The shepherd imagery works a lot here too, man. Because the life of the shepherd, you don't just get to like hang out in the middle of the flock with all the well-behaved ones. You're constantly fighting for them against the evil one. You're constantly aggravated by the hirelings that you thought were going to help you take care of them with you. And they're running at the first thing of danger. And you constantly got to leave the 99 to go after the dumb, smelly ones that email you all the time. Like, you don't get to, like, just hang out in the middle.
It's funny. One time we were in Israel, and I think we were actually in the West Bank. And one of the things you'll see in a majority world context, especially as you get more toward the Middle East, is you'll see a legit amount of shepherding going on.
A lot.
And I clearly remember one day there was a young boy. He was like 8 or 9 years old, and he was the goats weren't doing what he wanted to do. Now, goats and sheep are different animals, and he had this stick, and he's just waylaying on this goat, just wearing him out. And I see the grandfather, or at least an older man, come walking across the field with some paste to it. And he walks over, and he doesn't do anything to the boy. He puts himself in between the boy and the goat, and he puts his hands around the goat to protect it. Because that older person, he knew what that goat's purpose was and what that goat's potential was. That young boy was just frustrated in the moment because the goat wasn't doing what he wanted him to do, so he's just trying to waylay him.
Yep.
And I was thinking about that tonight as you were talking. Like, I saw that in real life, and I'm like, that's kind of the thing he's pointing at here.
And it's so fascinating because I don't know that I would have. You talk about parable as laying beside, but it's like a parable inside a parable to put the parable in between the other parable, the mustard seed and the leaven next to this one. Small beginnings have big results.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't see them, like.
Takes a minute.
Yeah.
And this is coming off of, so the reason he does the parable on the sower is like, all right, I'm going to change my teaching style and tell these stories to reveal and conceal, is because right before that, there's a whole group of religious people, as Jesus is just laying it out plain, that reject him. And they'll be like, no, you're the devil. And he's like, oh, you want to talk about the devil? Let me tell you some stories about it. And he goes outside of the house and he's telling it to the masses. So, a religious person with ears to hear, hopefully hears that and is like, man, I need more grace in my life. I need to give more grace. Hopefully a faithful person with ears to hear hears, man, I've come a long way. I mean, I'm not all that I can be, but I'm not what I used to be, you know?
Yeah.
I think parents of teenagers need to read this too, or parents of any age kids.
Right.
Like, just give it a minute.
Give it a minute.
Like, play the long game, trust God. Don't evaluate whether you're a winner or a loser as a parent based on like a semester of your child's life. You know, you're going to get a lot of different versions of that thing as they grow up. Just invest, pray hard, read a lot of Bible.
Yeah, sometimes people are frustrated with their teenagers for doing like what I actually would classify as like pretty good behavior as compared to what I was doing when I was a teenager. Sometimes I just want to be like, have a seat. Let me tell you some stories about this preacher's kid when I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
And let's just put your child's behavior in context just for a second.
Could be okay.
Yeah. Everything might work out all right, you know?
Well, it is so encouraging to think about something that starts small that can grow to become so powerful. You know,
it's also a picture of this movement that Jesus is a part of. I mean, it's 12 dudes on a camping trip, man. And right now it's at least 2.6 billion people claim to believe in Jesus. And it has impacted the majority of the world. I mean, you like the fact that we value women and children. You should thank this little mustard seed right here. You like hospitals to take care of people. You like human rights. All of these started with this little mustard seed. None of those existed before these little teachings started. Yeah.
And you mentioned, we were talking about beach baptism. I think, what number was it for? I think my 11th, maybe
12.
You're 12. And even that, you know, it's like, what was the first number of people at beach baptism baptized? Do you remember?
No.
It was a couple of hundred. I want to say it was like a 226. That would have been 2014, and they had done it in 2013 as well. That was the very
we launched
first
in
one.
September, and we did it at beach. And it would be dozens then. You know, it wasn't like the whole church thing.
Yeah.
We would just meet on a Sunday afternoon and baptize whoever was up. Yeah, but we put a stake in the ground and we said everybody's going to be involved in this. Yeah, it's probably a couple hundred. It'd be interesting to look back.
I don't know this. The very first one I was a part of in 2014, there's a plaza building at the beach called Dolphin Plaza. We were all able to meet in there. And then we all got together and took a big picture outside. I mean, try to imagine facilitating that, you know, this year. We did it with drones, but it was awesome.
Shout out to our outpost, man. We had over 300 people come in from out of state.
Wow.
For sure.
You know, through 1122 online and the outposts.
So cool.
There's a bunch of people that just came to watch it.
Yep.
They just heard about it and wanted to. Good for them, man. That's some Henry Blackaby stuff. You've been on a lot of vacations in your life that you can't remember. You ain't gonna forget that one. They just took a week off work and came here on Thursday and went to church and did fun stuff on Friday and Saturday, and then their family went to the beach to just celebrate the goodness of God.
That's awesome.
That's a wise investment. Imagine like the dad's like, "Hey, we're going to Jacksonville for vacation." Like, is that where Disney is? No. You know what I mean? Well, what are we doing? You'll see. That's some real discipleship right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically all we have in Jacksonville. It's the Jags and the beach. So
No, don't tell anybody. Everybody's moving here though.
Matthew has this repeated thing he talks about with Jesus fulfilling prophecy. And so he says he's talking in parables to fulfill this prophecy from the Psalms. And you pointed this out.
Bro, I kind of want to just teach it the whole time.
I love Psalm 70.
Isn't it cool though? Nobody talks about the Psalms as a prophecy, as prophetic,
Certainly not Asaph.
except Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
78?
Yeah, 78:2 is what he quoted.
what's going on here with the
need to borrow
fulfillment
my
of prophecy? And
Hey man, settle down. It's long.
it's a long one.
He just goes through the history of Israel through basically the first 5 books of the Bible. Just about the faithfulness of God and how God put on display his goodness over and over. And then it was really short-lived. And then the people, it'll keep saying, yet they tested and rebelled against the Most High God and did not keep his commandments. They provoked him to anger with their high places and moved him to jealousy with their idols. And God heard, he was full of wrath. He utterly rejected Israel, he forsook his dwelling at Shiloh. There's all these things, but then it'll turn and it'll be like, and then they turn back to the Lord. This is the Hebrews would say it's the illegitimate child that does not get disciplined by a father. You know, so I was talking to a guy online tonight. He's like, I know I'm saved. That's how he started. He's like, but I've been living like a weed, man, like a tear. Like, I'm like, you're all right, dude. Like what you're experiencing right now is actually the kindness of God. He ain't mad at you. Like, he's got to be. I'm like, all right, let's go over this one more time. What does propitiation mean? It goes, payment that satisfies. I was like, all right, so if Jesus is fully satisfied, the wrath of God, the justice of God, and then you have been imputed with his righteousness, then since Jesus fully satisfied the payment of all of your sin, then God cannot be dissatisfied in you. Like, he's not surprised right now. And so the fact that you would have the courage to say it out loud right here, this is the beginning of freedom. So James says we should confess our sins to one another that we may be healed. So oftentimes the beginning of healing is just that, just shining some light on some dark places, confessing out loud and saying, I'm broken. Like, I know, right? Me too. Now, just like you receive the grace of Jesus to become a Christian, you're going to receive the grace of Jesus to act like one.
Who's it that said the same faith that saves you is the faith that sanctifies you?
Oh yeah, I probably made that up. Or John Calvin.
Grace. Is it faith or grace?
I think it's grace.
I think it's grace. The same grace that saves you is the grace that sanctifies you.
Yeah, that's going to be
You're close though.
Calvin.
Yeah.
Or me. It's one of those two.
Or George A. Packer, but who's counting?
Yeah. Well, here's what's crazy about the use of the word parable there in 78 is it's kind of like the thing that you said last week. You said, generally we think parable, we think illustration. And so if you read this psalm, he's like, hey, listen, I'm about to tell you a parable about how this thing works and how it has worked. And it's kind of like, these are all real stories that he's saying, these real things that have happened in the history of Israel. But, we know from the way you've